Rough Edge FM. Irritatingly irresistible internet radio at roughedgefm.com.
There's so much going on in your community that even in this age of information, it's tough to keep up. This show will help. It's all about what's new, what's happening, and what's out there. So if you're ready, sit back and listen up, Santa Paula.
I'm ready. I don't know if you're ready, but I'm ready.
I'm always ready.
Listen up, Santa Paula. Yeah, so big announcement today.
Breaking news here.
Breaking news. I went to the dark side.
Nice.
So here's what happened. My folding phone. Every time I'd call somebody, they'd be like, hello, and I could hear them perfectly, but they could not hear me. They always had static. And I thought maybe it was an Apple thing where like Apple was trying to sabotage Android so it wouldn't accept Android calls. You know, it'd like
probably.
Yeah, I mean, very cool. That's pretty well logical. Come to find out that my antenna is broken and the mic is not functioning properly.
That's from all the folding.
Yeah. So they supposedly fixed it in the newer version. And I was looking at the new version and I was looking at the Android. And then I was like, my mom's on FaceTime. Julie's on FaceTime. All the kids have FaceTime.
It's about time.
I'm going to do it.
Yep.
So
good for you.
And I couldn't just do that. I also had to do that.
There you go. Got to do the whole package. That's the same thing with me. Got my watch, Yeah.
So is yours a 45 millimeter? Is it the big one or the small one?
It's the big one.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Because, we're manly men.
That's right. Yeah.
Can't have these little.
Oh, my son gave me the.
Yours look bigger than mine.
Well, just the band or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
You got a girly band. I got the manly band. So there you go. No, I actually got this band. It's actually, I used to have one like that, and then I ended up getting this metal band. This which is interesting because every time I touch something, it's like a magnet and it sticks to it. So I got to be careful with it sometimes, So
if there's something that's magnetic or anything, you can just...
I have my name badge and I'll reach in my pocket, it sticks to it. So, or I'll have it in my front pocket, it'll stick to it. So,
nice.
But I just switched over to this one. I kind of like it, but it's I'm used to putting them on the other way. So
yeah,
that's all right.
Well, and I'm lefty, so
yeah,
it goes on my right.
There you go. Good for you though.
But
it's about time.
I know, but now we have no one to test the app on Android.
Well,
so
we'll
find somebody.
Yeah, there's got to be at least one person in town.
So I got some of the 150th going, and I got the PBIB district start entering all those things in.
Good.
So we'll have the downtown district.
Good.
Which I think the downtown district should contribute a little something for that. But
we are actually looking at that. We had a meeting yesterday.
Oh, really?
And we talked about some projects that will include that.
Oh, nice.
And going back in September and see about some possible funding for it.
Yeah, very cool.
Because it's not cheap.
No, it's not.
No, it's time consuming. It's, we're actually looking at doing some trifolds, traditional trifolds as well, in anticipation of the 150th to hand out for people that want that, or they can download the app.
Oh, okay.
So it's because you have people that won't use the app.
Right.
We know that. So we have to kind of have a little bit of both.
Yeah, and there's like 70 something organizations.
Yeah, and the goal is to have a trifold that actually is just about the downtown, and it would have listings based on categories for each one, and then they can go in using the app. We can look for coupons, different things like that too. But it'll be an ongoing, not just specifically for that. The trifold will be ongoing, and we update it maybe once a year or something like that.
Yeah, and it's just it makes. The 150th makes for a good reason to launch.
Exactly.
And then it keeps going from there.
And as you know, when you ever do print materials, they're outdated the minute you print them.
Yeah.
So that's what we're looking at. We'll print it and it won't change much for the downtown district, but what we can do is if they want the updated version, they can go on the app, or they can, or we'll do an updated version the following year.
Plus they can get coupons on the app, which they won't be able to get on the printout.
For deals and coupons or whatever, they can just scan the Now you can just have the one barcode for Apple now, because you were resistant about having Android on there too. So we can put like the Apple logo, download the app on the Apple, and then in the bottom you just put Android. I'm joking. It's got to be both because people have both.
I know they do.
So,
and I'm still a PC guy.
Well, that's me.
Yep.
That's the one thing I haven't gone over to get a MacBook. I'm still PC.
Yeah.
So,
the problem with Apple is that they're so proprietary. They keep everything there's no competition, so everything is bloody expensive. You can get a decent PC notebook for $800, and it's a good one. You got to spend $2,300-$2,400 on an Apple.
Yeah.
So
they do offer other things that your regular PC won't do. With your protection, whatever they do. But it'd be nice to have it where everything all syncs up. But I'm just not there yet.
Yep.
Just baby steps for me.
I hear you. So last week we had Chief Aguilar on, and sounds like we might end up with a regular quarterly segment on the policing. One of the things that I wanted to ask him about is I got an alert last weekend to stay and shelter
through Nixle, right? Was
that
the alert?
Yeah.
It's a Nixle emergency app.
Okay.
Yeah, alert.
But it was for police activity that was happening in this area.
Yeah.
What was that police activity?
I don't remember what it was, but it's catered to specific areas. That Nixle is a program that the city signed up for, and it's specific for each area.
Okay.
Like there's other cities that have it too, but it's specific for their area. So no, it's a really cool system. I know through the chamber we're actually trying to help. We're going to help push it out there for everybody, because you get these emergency alerts. You saw with the earthquake and all that stuff and the flooding and all that. You get these alerts on your phone, which is crazy,
Right.
But the city of Sao Paulo now is getting better at putting their own stuff out. I know what it was. They were searching for somebody. Something had happened, and they were searching for somebody. And I think they finally found who they were looking for and stuff.
Okay.
They told people to just kind of lock your doors and do all that stuff too.
Yeah.
But
and then the emergency alert for the earthquake, mine came in as drop, cover, and kiss your butt goodbye.
Yeah, right after and they were pretty good because it happened, you had the jolt, and as it was still a little vibration, the alert kicked in. So it was kind of good. I mean, it wasn't exactly perfect, but I mean, when it hits, what do? It takes a second for it to get out there, So, and it was a quick jolt, and it wasn't one of those long rolling ones, right? But it capped for an interesting day.
I think they said there were over 100 earthquakes in the Ojai area.
Yeah.
In the last 2 days,
and you could feel them. You feel the little shakers where I live. I mean, you definitely feel them. And even yesterday in the morning, there was a couple little quick jolts. You could
feel there.
Yeah.
So the bigger one, the 5.1, I did not feel. And Julie was like, "Did you feel the earthquake?" I mean, I got the alert, and I'm like, "Is it coming?" I'm sitting there thinking, how do they know that far in advance, to duck and cover for an earthquake?
Yeah.
I went downstairs to the magic shop, and it was like somebody just came by with their hands outreached and just like pulled everything off the shelves. There was stuff all over the floor.
Yeah.
But up here, nothing.
Yeah.
The booze, totally fine.
That's a good thing. Yeah. Some at our house, because we don't live too far from the studio here. There was a little bit of stuff that moved around and stuff, but it wasn't anything major. I think because of the type of earthquake it was more of a jolt. It wasn't like this rolling one. Because I know the last one that was like this that I felt was the Northridge quake, and that was more of a rolling and stuff, and that did a lot more damage.
Okay,
but this one was a quick jolt.
It's kind of like somebody picked something up and then just dropped it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't think you saw a lot of stuff shift and stuff. So
well, it did downstairs on the shelves.
Yeah.
Have a few broken things, so we'll be having a couple items on earthquake sale.
There you go. Does FEMA help cover the cost of all the other stuff?
I don't know. It's like $200-$300.
Yeah, I know.
So
Yeah.
They probably got bigger things to worry about.
Yeah. Yeah. But no, I thought, that day was a crazy day between the the hurricane or the tropical storm, and then the flooding. It was just continuous all day. There was something happening.
Now, did we get much flooding here?
No, everything was
It just
fine.
seemed like it was just a normal rainfall.
Yeah. I don't think we got nearly as much as they anticipated. But overall, it seemed like everything was good. I mean, I talked to Commander Eric Starner this morning. He was at our chamber board meeting, and he said everything was fine. It was, just the usual things that go on, but it wasn't anything major. He did say when all that happened, they deployed everybody out and about to look around. He said he was out looking. The chief was out there. The chief actually was on the news, he was being interviewed. So he did quite a few things during the day. But they were all hands on deck, and they were out there. And I know the city staff was out there. They were checking things. So school district, same thing. They're all out there doing what they needed to do, to check between the earthquake and the flooding and all that stuff too. So it was, it's been an interesting week. I think everybody's been working overtime this week doing all these things. So,
I have to apologize, by the way.
Yeah.
It is 11 o'clock, not 10 o'clock. And I'm drinking a Dr. Pepper. It's 10, 2, and 4.
Yeah.
And I'm off.
No.
So
I thought you were giving those up. What happened?
I am. This is like my security can. It makes me feel like I'm having a Dr. Pepper, and then I can pretend.
Yeah. Okay.
But I'm not really drinking it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that.
Yeah.
Okay. It's because Julie's not here. That's why. Yeah.
So anyway, having Chief here was a really good interview. I don't know if you watched it or not, but we did tag you a couple of times.
I watched it on the bus when we were traveling, and that's why I sent a few messages.
Yeah.
But then I lost reception. It was just one of those things where because we're up in the Sierras.
Well, it's a good thing you probably lost reception, because that's when we started getting ugly.
Probably, yeah. But we were up in the Fresno area when that happened, and the minute you make that turn, everything got spotty. To go up into the mountains.
Now, what was the reason for you going up to that area?
I was invited by Edison, Natalie Yanis, who's the community representative, community engagement manager out here. She invited me and several others from this area to go up to see the Big Creek project, which is up in the Sierras, just northeast of Fresno. And Edison owns 20,000 acres up there. And they have their power plants. There's, I think, 8 or 9 power plants that are all within an area. They have several lakes up there that they use to generate power. Shaver Lake is their biggest lake. That's on the bottom down there, and that's right in the middle of where they own all their 20,000 acres. So it was good to visit the facilities up there, just to see what they have up there. We got to go to Shaver Lake and get on a tour on the lake, and they were showing us everything that happened around with the creek fire they had up there a few years back. And then, because it's funny, you go up there and it's all one side, it's all blackened trees, and the other side it's perfect, but they do have a forestry division, and so they do talk about how they tend the forest to help for forest fires. They were showing areas where they developed breaks, so it kind of stopped the fire. So Edison's got these new ways of managing the forests. So they were showing us all those techniques and what they do, and then how that where the fire breaks were, and just there was numerous different things. We talked about things that are going on in the community and all of our communities, and it was people not just from Santa Paula, it was for all Ventura County. There was 15 of us that were on this trip.
And what's the point of it?
Every so often they invite groups up to engage. It's for community engagement, so it helps them understand the needs of the communities. They can talk about how they generate power for this area. It's kind of their showcase area, and it's good. They bring people out of their element, and you're in kind of this dorm style housing, and they feed you and they talk about different things, and so it's just good to get away, and it gives everybody an opportunity to focus strictly on what they're doing, and it's great stuff. I don't even think people know that Edison has that up there, but 20,000 acres, that's a lot of territory.
Right.
And they have camps up there, like Camp Edison. You can go camping up there, and and there's just a ton of stuff up there, but it's all managed by Edison, and that's how we get power down here. It all starts up in that area.
Oh, it does.
Yeah,
So
that's where it starts.
Okay.
And it gets down, and LA is of course their biggest area that they shoot power down, but it also comes to our area too. So, but it all starts up in that area. They've had that since the early 1900s that they developed all this.
Wow.
And so it was really interesting to see, but we had some great discussions, and we got to engage with other leaders and talk about numerous different things. I talked to several people about different subjects, not about Edison, but companies do that. They bring people out to an area and they just have these more casual discussions. And as they're trying to talk about more, like in our community, develop more with electrification, getting more charging stations and doing other things, and how to help, our underserved communities in general. And how do we help them for the cost of doing what they do too. So just new technology. They talk about all these different things and stuff. And I shared some of the other concerns we have with Santa Paula. There was other ones that shared concerns from their other areas. And we found we have a lot of similarities too. And it helps Edison go back to their team and see, okay, how can we help our communities?
So this wasn't a Santa Paula activity. This was, you got invited. And so this was a John Marquez activity.
For representing the chamber, here. And there were several others, Danielle Borgia from the Conejo Chamber of Commerce. There was some city council members from other cities were on there. It was just a good mix of people.
Nice.
They usually do that. They get people from all sectors, and they do it. I don't know if it's once a month or once every other month, but we're the first group, I guess, from what they said, that had been up there in 3 or 4 years, before the pandemic.
Oh, wow.
So they're trying to re-engage in the community. It's hard when you only have 1 or 2 representatives for the entire county. How do you engage with everybody? So you bring them into one facility, and you can get 15 or 20 of them all in one sitting, and you have these open discussions.
Right.
So it's good. A lot of companies do that. So it was an honor to get invited to that, because it's a rare occasion, and everybody that goes up there says you got to do it. It's just, but it's a one-time deal. So they only invite you once up there. So, but they've been doing this for many, many years, 30 years. They've been doing this.
Oh, wow.
If not longer.
And so they took a break from COVID. So this was the first revamp of it.
Yeah. Just the technology is interesting, and seeing how they set up everything. And it's a little town, 175 people that are in this town, Big Creek, and they're all Edison workers, it seems like, or work for the company in some capacity. And no, it was really, really, really an honor to go up and see that, because, like I said, it is rare, and for them to invite me was kind of cool. So,
nice.
Yeah.
Isn't it kind of interesting that we're still dealing with the backlash of COVID?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
and companies are still trying to get engaged, because we're only a year and a half away from this. That since this really, we started opening back up, and it's hard for these larger corporations to get re-engaged with the communities. And
I think there's so much customer service, retail shopping has changed. I mean, there's so much that's changed.
Yeah.
Well, as a result of all this.
On our level, we have our business roundtable every other month. That's a way for us to get in front of 30 to 40 businesses, even if it's for an hour or two, but to have an open discussion, do a presentation, answer questions, because it's very difficult to try and go to each individual one to do that and fit their schedules. But if we have something like this, an opportunity, they're willing to come, gives us an opportunity to engage with them. So, and it always opens up, you've been to many of them, it always opens up a different discussion with other companies or businesses and stuff. So it's just, and a lot of
whole networking and
and there's plenty of, you're seeing more and more of this now out in the county, I think everywhere, but where they're doing more of these larger networking events, and just having a guest speaker here or there to come in and bring people in. But there's usually about an hour and a half of networking. And that's the whole point of all this stuff. It's like when we do a roundtable, we have updates. We spend about 45 minutes to an hour. Then we have 30 to 45 minutes for Q&A. And you see before, it's usually about a half an hour of networking as well. And people stay for at least another half an hour after that too.
Right.
So you're seeing companies do this more and more. We're going to start coming back and doing more. We hold chamber mixers. We haven't done a lot of them, but we're going to start bringing some of them back. We're looking at doing some breakfast mixers. We're looking at doing some other things now to help get people engaged, because it's hard with a small staff that we have. How do we get to everybody? I'd love to see every one of our members once a year,
Right.
minimum. But at 193 businesses, that's hard to do.
Right.
To have a
Unless
good
bring them to
conversation.
you.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
if we can get 30 or 40 of them in a setting, that would be great. And then there's our opportunity to have conversation. Then we can do the one-offs where we see it.
Right.
So just trying to think of different ways, because business has changed.
Yeah.
Time is short now. You see everybody's working at a fast pace now.
We're always open for a mixer, either breakfast, night, dinner, whatever. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we're actually looking at doing something in October for having the EDC, Economic Development Collaborative, come in and talk to our businesses about free services that they offer.
Nice.
Because everything they do is free.
Right.
Business training, whether it's financial or just how to build a business plan or whatever. So they want to do some kind of a program. So I asked them, well, what if we do something as a breakfast based, building it off the roundtable success?
Right.
Maybe we need to do that, because most of our small businesses, it's hard for them to do an evening because they're working.
Right.
But in the morning, we can get them before they open up at 10, 11 o'clock. So we're thinking of doing that coming up pretty quick here.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. One of the things the chief talked about was the whole community neighborhood watch and all this kind of stuff. So it was actually a good discussion with him. And we did talk a little bit about the 150th anniversary. And one of the things that he said was unique about the city, which I think we all know, is that in most cities, it's like, no. And this city tends to be, and even he said he's talked with his staff, and it's not, no, you can't do that. It's, how can we do that?
Yeah.
And working with the community to figure out, not just being a roadblock, but, what can we do? How can we make that happen?
Yeah, they've gotten much better over the years doing this. It's usually not a no now. It's kind of a, well, maybe we can do this, maybe we can't do this, but let's figure out whether we can or can't. So they're willing to have that open discussion. There's still cities out there, from what I've heard, that just are not as receptive and are having some difficulties working with businesses, or they're just not communicating correctly to businesses. And it's harder for a small business, as you know, to work with some larger cities, because a lot of times they tend not to pay attention to smaller businesses. Their focus is on the larger corporations. Not that they don't care, but I don't think they put as much focus on it.
Well, you can say that as a chamber. I will say, as a small business, they don't care about you.
Well, I have hope.
Having personal experience, I can tell you that, but the one thing that I think is cool is that it is, it's not my mother-in-law worked for an insurance company, and they were trained on a claim. The first answer is no. And then if they come back, then it's, maybe a no again. And if they come back a third time, but ultimately they're going to pay it. But they're hoping that a lot of people go away on the first no.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of cities operate that way. Let's just know, and let's hope that, they don't come back. And then if they keep pestering, we'll figure out a way, or bend a little bit.
Yeah. And unfortunately, that's turned a lot of people away over the years that have maybe had an idea for a business, or something, or they wanted to do an add-on to their house or something like that. And when you get this idea, you want to hear some positive, you can do this, build the momentum up.
It's a sad way to operate.
And then you go and talk to the city, and they're like, well, you can't do this, you can't do that. Everything is can't do this, and it's just like, well, what can I do?
Right.
And it's frustrating, because a lot of times it turns, well, if you pay this much money, then we can consider doing this. And not saying Santa Paula, but other cities,
right.
And it's just like, it's discouraging. Instead of saying, hey, okay, here's what you can and can't do. Now here's estimated costs. You can kind of figure out what to do. It's more just helping people to understand what the reality of it is.
Right.
Because you can come in and say, I want to start a business, and have no money, but you have this great idea, but you need help.
Right.
So you go to the city, try and get a permit or get whatever, they're telling you no, or you have to pay all this money. It's like, well, then I can't do this. But on the city side, maybe they can say, well, look, why don't you talk to somebody from the EDC or talk to somebody, and they can help you build this business plan, and then you can come back to us. And a lot of times they just shut you down and they don't give you any advice. And that's what I've always been pushing is like, if you see that they are interested, but you can tell that they're just not in a position to start that, direct them somewhere else, help them out. That's all they want. You know? You've experienced that when you go into the cities and they're telling you no, or they don't want to work with you. But maybe if they would have said, hey, you know what? Why don't we hook you up with this person? This person can help you with this. And then we can look at, help build that,
Yeah, we had a situation when we were doing a building permit, not in this city, obviously, but in another one. And they came in and they were like, this isn't going to pass. And it's like, okay, well, what do we have to do to make it pass? We can't tell you that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, what do you mean you can't tell me that? You're telling me it's not going to pass. So what do I need to do? Well, we can't tell you that. You'll have to hire a contractor and they can tell you.
It always goes back to that.
Yeah. And it's like, well, wait a minute. If I hire a contractor, how are they going to know exactly what's in your head? Why don't you just let me know what it is that you don't like about it? And they would not tell us.
Yeah.
They're like, well, it makes us liable if we give you bad advice. I'm like, if you're the one who's enforcing the code, why would it be bad advice? Unless you don't know anything about the code and you're just, winging it.
It's an interpretation of codes.
Yeah.
That's what it is. And they don't have to necessarily, they wouldn't be liable if they just tell you, hey, ask this person about this area. This is what you need to focus on.
Right.
If they would tell you that, not necessarily tell you details, but it's like, hey, here's what the area we're in, and have them help you. They know how to do all that.
Yeah.
And then as we're going, then have them contact us and we can talk about that.
It's not like, it's not like I'm asking you to sit there and tell me, exactly how it needs to be done.
Yeah.
Just tell me what the problem is.
Yeah. And it's unfortunate because a lot of entities like that don't do that. I'm facing that with one county group right now where they say no, but they don't really tell you exactly why sometimes, or it's just, and then when they do tell you why, it's almost impossible to get it done.
Yeah.
And you're just looking for some support, and it's just, it's challenging, and for the average person that doesn't know anything about this, it's frustrating.
Oh yeah.
For me, that I'm more involved and I kind of know things, it's frustrating for me. So I can imagine what it is for somebody that goes up there that has no idea and how discouraging it is. And, there's something to say about customer service for a lot of these entities. And sometimes they forget that, and it's hard. It's just so time consuming working through these problems, and some of it is simple, but it's created, they make it a really difficult, thing for you. And, they create more obstacles than really there should be. I'm looking at, here's the problem. What do we need to do to get here? And it's like, they take you on this long journey.
Yeah.
Even though they can tell you directly what needs to be done and how to do it, or be open to make some adjustments to make things move forward. And a lot of times they don't.
So we were doing something with our son for college.
Excuse me.
And we filled out all the forms and he got approved for, scholarships and stuff like that. This and then it came time to fill out the new report for the new year. So we filled it out exactly the way we did last year. And it said incomplete report. And we're like, okay, what's incomplete about it? So we tried calling. And then the number you go through, 5 minutes of voicemail hell, or directory, whatever.
Yeah.
And then it would finally say, hold on while we transfer you to an operator. And then it would say, we're sorry, all of our operators are busy. Try calling back at another time, and it disconnects you. It did that for 3 weeks straight. No matter what time I called, no matter how it didn't matter. I was always getting disconnected. So I tried resubmitting the report. And again, they said incomplete, missing information. And I'm like, what information? For crying out loud, just tell me what information.
Doesn't highlight anything? Or
nothing. So then they decline it. And they tell me that, it's declined because I didn't provide proof of this. So in the decline, and they give us a number and a name of somebody to call. Call him half a dozen times, no return phone calls. I go down to the office. It's about a 6-hour wait. So I'm like, okay, screw that. And so then I write a letter, no response. I hand deliver the letter to the office, no response. So I'm talking and I'm like, this is incredibly frustrating. I mean, you need this service. You can't get it. There's supposedly people out there to help you. They don't want to help you. And so I finally went to a friend of mine and I was talking, who's an attorney. I was talking with him and he said, I'll write a letter to him under my attorney address. He writes the letter. We send it certified. I get no response, but I look it up online and all of a sudden the scholarship's approved. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, no explanation, no nothing. It's just all of a sudden it's approved.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. And it's so imagine people who don't have those kind of resources.
Yeah.
The underserved who maybe don't have the education to even, know about writing letters or any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
They walk away.
Yeah. This happens every day.
Yeah.
Every day.
And so they're not being served because they don't know what else to do, what else to turn. Mm-hmm. I was joking with the attorney. I said, we ought to, sell this letter for $15.99 online and just let people fill in the void and send it.
They're never going to look at it. They just see the lawyer's name on there. It's like, oh, wait, here it is. Let's move through.
Yeah.
Be done with it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. And, that's, you're right about the underserved, that most times they'll just walk away from it, and it just does such a disservice to our community or any of our communities. But that's why you have these organizations that are now helping with this. There's many of these, you have like Cause, and you have some other organizations that are actually advocating for them to help them in specific areas, because they don't have people to do that, and I find that even with the chamber, there's some businesses that have never asked for anything because they don't know. And we got to get better engaged with them and find them the correct resources that they can understand in their language too.
Right.
Because a lot of times they figure it's, because they mainly speak Spanish, that, nobody's ever going to help me. Just a perception. But yet again, there is help out there. A lot of times they just don't know how to ask for it.
Oh, the other beauty about this whole thing, the forum had an advocacy service that you could call.
Yeah.
I called that number and they gave me another phone number saying that they're not taking on anybody.
Yeah. And that's all. It's all part of their little web that they have.
Oh,
yeah, it's frustrating. I know. So, but yeah, it's just, is it going to change anytime soon? No. We hope things get better for this. And they are in a lot of areas they are. And you see in a community like Santa Paula, as you're seeing that the city's more receptive to doing things. So it's like one city at a time. We just got to knock it out. And there are other cities in this county that are very receptive, and they are willing to work with some businesses and organizations and stuff. You're actually finding those in the smaller cities like Fillmore, Port Hueneme, Ojai, and stuff. So because they can do that more one-on-one,
right.
And the larger cities, they still do, but they work on a much larger scale, which, to your point earlier, they tend to forget about the small business that's trying to, the mom and pop that's trying to just
a lot of people
something.
fall through the cracks.
Exactly. And that's nobody's fault. It's just the way it's set up, and so it just takes that much more resources to do it.
Well, we are out of time.
Yes.
Man, this was like major catch-up show.
Yeah, it was a good discussion. Yeah.
And just real quick, this Saturday we have Doug Coleman performing on our stage. And then on Sunday we have Nathaniel Siegel, who will also be performing. He's doing a repeat performance because his show went so well last week. He wants to come back and do it again.
Good. So
we'll have those two things. And we got the farmers market coming up on Friday.
Friday again.
So
yep. And then next week, is it next week? Yeah, no. Yeah, the week after we have cruise night.
Right.
So yeah.
Any grand openings happening?
Actually tomorrow we have the Spirit of Santa Paula. On Thursday we are doing a ribbon cutting for their new area that they built.
I need to go there because I also need to talk to them about the fact that we have some tickets for them.
Yeah, so it's at
So-
11 o'clock. And it's great because this is used with the funding that they got from the state and from the city and stuff and the county. So they've all kind of put the funding together, and they've expanded their services. So now they're gonna have more on-site stuff. They have, I think, new showers. They have new other areas there that's going to help serve the homeless community better.
Cool.
So it's going to be a great thing. So we're going to be there tomorrow to do our role's doing the cutting of the ribbons. So
Yeah.
so we'll be out there tomorrow.
11 o'clock tomorrow.
11 o'clock, the Spirit of Santa Paula.
And what's the address?
I knew you were going to ask me that. I don't
Okay.
remember it offhand. It's
Where's
on Harvard Boulevard.
Harvard
where
Boulevard.
Harvard and Main Street connect on the east side of town.
Harvard and Main Street Connect?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
All righty. That's our show. So we'll be back
Soon.
next week.
Mhm.
Yeah, real soon. It's gonna feel like it never
Just a
we
minute.
never left.
Mhm,
Yeah. All right, John. As always, it's a pleasure.
Yes.
And
See, a week break actually helped. So I actually enjoyed the conversation today.
oh,
Yeah,
you mean you don't normally enjoy them?
it's okay.
Okay.
Always good time. Come on. Now.
I know.
Yeah.
All right, we will talk to y'all next week.
This has been a Rough Edge Studios production.